Good morning. It's time for Two Guys on Sports. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson. Good morning, Larry.
Morning, Dick. A little recap on week 2 of the high school football season. Last Thursday night, I had a few blowouts.
Yeah, wow.
Stevens Point over Superior and Rice Lake over Rapids.
Yeah, Rice Lake looks like the real deal, and they are coming to Marshfield this week. By the way, so
they better be ready.
Yeah, but Marshall also took a blowout at the hands of Menominee also. So
yeah, a few of those games last week on Thursday were delayed or shortened because of the weather.
Yeah. So
Marshfield losing to Menominee, and as you said, Rice Lake coming in this week, so it won't get any easier for the Tigers. Yeah. And then on Friday, we talked about this Loyal Greenwood Neillsville Granton matchup. We didn't know what to take with Loyal Greenwood's co-op, but wow.
Yeah, and I think we all seen the result from the last week against Abbey. Abbey beat them 33-16. Abbey pretty decent ball club usually. And we don't know nothing about the Loyal Greenwood co-op. But then Abbey goes into Colby and beats Colby 21-6 the other night. So that tells me, Abbey's a really good ball club. And from what I see, I think Loyal Greenwood is going to be much better than people think.
Yeah, big,
huge.
And they just run behind that big line with some big backs.
Big backs. Shale, Schulze.
I guess it's Schultz.
Is it
from
Schultz?
what I understand?
Okay, it's spelled Schulze.
I know.
And then you put Tofar, and he's just a beast. And
Sandelier is
a
little bigger. Yeah,
Schultz got hurt, and Sandelier came in, and he actually ran better than Schultz. So I think they've got Marathon this week. I think that I'm not going to say they're going to be a force in the Central Wisconsin Large, but I think they're going to be much better than people thought.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you're not big. Neillsville Granton wasn't big.
No, and that's concerning. But I think Loyal Greenwood LG is going to be as big as anybody in the Central Wisconsin Large. So, and we'll see. So yes, they've got tough games: Stratford, Amherst. But you look at their schedule: Marathon, Spencer, Columbus, Waiawega, Fremont. I think
some winnable games.
Possibly. You possibly might be on the fringe, right? Looking at the playoffs.
Yeah.
So.
And then on the other side of the ball, Neillsville Granton just couldn't get anything going offensively out on the ground, especially.
Right from the first play, Trin Shield had a 39-yard run, and that just set the pace the whole night. Neillsville could never get nothing going on the ground, and in the second half, I think they tried one run the whole second half, and I believe that was a carry by Hartung. So they just really totally abandoned it and went to the short passing game as a running game. But a lot of concerns for Coach Lehman, really, because I believe 343 yards on the ground they gave up.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of yards. And you got games with Regis, Mondovi, and Elk Mound coming up. So
and Stanley Boyd. Stanley likes to throw.
Right, but and even Durand. Durand this week is, even though they've gotten off to a slow start, they're going to try to power run ball too. So
I'm sure people
see it, and they're going to
saw it on the films with Neillsville Granton.
Yeah, those films don't lie very much.
No, they don't. No. Neillsville Granton was unable to get anything going. Yeah. Gunnar Barth had 129 yards in that first game and had 0 yards.
Yeah, and I don't know if he had any plus yards all night. That was Hartung had a couple of carries, but for the most part, running game was non-existent. So and that big Loyal line just plugged up everything. Because the week before they were getting their yards between the tackles, and this week there was no gaps in those tackles because you had all that beef up front for LG. So.
Right. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what Neillsville Granton does here now to get ready for this Durand Arkansas team, a team that is down from what it was in the past few years, but I understand they've got a pretty good receiver, I think.
Yeah, and they've got the quarterback who was a junior, I believe. He was a sophomore, and he started the last half of the season. So they probably are passing a little more than we're used to seeing back, like when Simon Bauer was.
Yeah. Well, you didn't have to pass.
Simon Bauer left, Simon Bauer right.
Yeah, right.
And we'll see. It's Coach Rosemeyer is very good about getting things improved over the years, and quite honestly, Larry, they played a pretty decent non-conference schedule. Their first game is with Spring Valley. Spring Valley this week is ranked number 10 in D7, And then last week they took her on the chin by Prescott, but Prescott this week is ranked 8th in D4. So
I think a lot of people are going to take it on the chin with Prescott.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the big thing I seen in the stats is they give up an awful lot of yards passing. So
Okay.
so
All right. Well, a few other games from last week. Of course, the big one, Stratford and Edgar. And Stratford proved while they're still the top.
And they're going to be the top team, and 21-6 or 8, excuse me, and it looks like Stratford is as good as advertised so far. So
8-man football, Owen Withey shut out Prairie Farm 57-0, and Thorpe over Athens 24-8.
Nice score, and then McDonald, and I thought they would run away with this thing this year, 27-26 over Clayton. I believe they stopped a 2-point conversion at the end to win the game.
Yeah.
So anything can happen, I guess. So
Well, that was a battle of top 10
Clayton
teams.
was ranked up there too. So, but looks like Coach Lauby's got a good thing going on with you, and Coach Stokes has reloaded pretty good up at Thorpe. So it'd be interesting to see how the season goes for them. So.
All right, so Lake Holcomb and McDonald Central, the only game in our area on the schedule. It's an 8-player game tonight. The rest of the schedule tomorrow night. We talked about Durand, Arkansas, and Neilsville, Granton. Mondovi, of course, has to go out and get that game because of Osseo Fairchild not playing.
And they took on Winona.
They're going to be playing tomorrow night. Interesting there. Let's see. Anything else that stands out on the schedule for tomorrow?
The game I picked out, Larry, was in the CWC Small, and that's Edgar at Auburndale.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You got Edgar Auburndale right now is number 3 in D6, and I believe Edgar dropped to number 3 in D7. So should be see how good Auburndale really is, I think. So
Yeah.
So.
And we mentioned Rice Lake at Marshfield in a Big Rivers crossover, and it looks like Rice Lake maybe.
They are scoring some points. Holy mackerel! 44-0 over Rapids last week. So, and I believe they put on 40 against somebody else the week before too. So.
And they come in ranked number 1 in Division 2.
Yeah, and they were, of course, the state champs in D3 and moved up this year, and it looks like they're going to be strong in D2. So.
Then there was a few upsets last week. Arrowhead got beat last week.
Yeah, right.
Number 1 team in the state.
Yep, and that's 2 weeks in a row the number 1 team got beat, because I believe it was Marquette was the number 1 team to start out, and they got knocked off by Arrowhead, I believe.
Well, you get into those teams down there, and you're talking some pretty good.
I'll tell you what, it's big time.
Yeah.
Down there, but a familiar name on top the D1 list this week in Kimberly.
Yes,
So.
yeah, Kimberly. Yeah, they may hold it there for a while. Well, you never know. We thought Arrowhead too.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're going to have some competition in that Fox Valley too.
Yep.
So.
Notre Dame, number 1 in Division 3. West Salem, still number 1 in Division 4. Division 5, Wrightstown, number 1, but Stratford is right there at number 2. And how about Stanley Boyd?
Stanley Boyd made the jump from 8th up to 4th, and then another team we haven't really talked about in the CWC Large is Amherst, and they're in there at 9. So and always a strong program over there. So
Amherst, what do they got going on this week?
They
got Colby
at Amherst this week. So,
And Division 6 still with those 3 teams from our area in the top 3. Mondovi number 1, then Regis and Auburndale.
Yeah, and Abbey comes in at 6. So we'll see. But I still. I think the voters are still looking a little bit at things they did in the past, but the longer they stay up there and stay undefeated, the better they are. But Mondovi taking out a pretty good challenge with Winona this week. So.
And Mondovi's another team that's been putting up some points.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
their first 2 games.
We talked about the new quarterback, and new running back, and a new receiver, but it hasn't stopped them this year. But like I said, they come back with that big offensive line all back, and they're going to power the ball up and down that field. So
we saw what it went with Loyal Greenwood.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get a big enough line.
Yeah, you get big enough line, and then big strong backs too,
Sure.
who can break tackles at the line of scrimmage. And
inexperienced or not, I mean, they find a hole, they should be able to get through it.
And Coach Loscheider has had a system in place for a long time at Mondovi. They're playing the same system all the way down probably to middle school. And these kids are ready for it when they hit the varsity time.
Sure.
So,
and that's the key. I mean, keep it all the same as you're coming up.
Reload instead of rebuild.
There you go. Potosi Cassville takes over the top spot in Division 7. We mentioned Edgar dropping down to 3rd this week.
Yep. So, and like I said, Spring Valley 10th, and of course they defeated Durand, Arkansas in week 1, and of course Durand, Arkansas coming to Neillsville tomorrow night. So
Yeah, 7:00 is game time for that one on 92.7 WPKG.
one other game I forgot to say, Elk Mound at Regis, Larry, Saturday.
Okay. Yeah.
That should be a dynamite game too. That should be a slobber knocker, as they say. So
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, where Elk Mound is now.
yeah, absolutely. Is Logan Jerome the answer? He was a starter last year, and Regis so far has been putting up a lot of points, but they hung quite a few on Bloomer. I believe they hung 50 on Bloomer last week. So
Yeah, it was 54-16.
yeah, 54. Yeah. So I don't think, when Coach Brenner says he has a very inexperienced team, he's still blowing a little smoke.
Yeah, that might be a little something there, a smoke screen or something.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, there we go. That's what's happening in high school football coming up tomorrow night, and what happened last week. Girls volleyball. Some of the teams getting their seasons underway. A lot of tournaments over the Labor Day weekend, and the first poll of the season coming out for girls volleyball, and really nothing that sticks out. A lot of teams, DSHA, number 1 in Division 1.
And, of course, they're, I believe, the defending champions in D1. And
Marshfield did receive votes this week in that first poll.
Yeah.
Luxembourg Casco, number 1 in Division 2. Mosinee did receive some votes there. Cuba City, number 1 in Division 3. Fall Creek, Marathon, actually, number 8. Fall Creek did receive some votes, and Stratford is number 9.
Yeah, Stratford was, who did they beat?
Stratford beat Columbus Catholic.
Columbus Catholic, so.
And Columbus Catholic came into this week. They weren't ranked. I thought they were ranked up there.
I thought they were ranked,
yes,
number
ranked
2.
Number 2 in Division 5. I forgot. I didn't go down far enough.
Yeah.
There's 5 divisions in volleyball.
They're behind Wausau Newman.
Yes.
And Tuesday night, Wausau Newman beat Wausau West.
Yes.
So that's a pretty impressive right there. And,
Yes.
of course, Wausau Newman has been very strong in volleyball for a long time. So
Yeah. And Gilman is another one of those teams
Yeah.
in volleyball. They beat Athens 3 sets to none.
And that says a lot, too. Athens has been pretty strong the last couple of years, and so good for Gilman. Looks like off a good start there.
And Loyal beat Blair Taylor 3 sets to none.
And Loyal has a very athletic team. We've talked about some of these kids as freshmen and sophomores, and they're now juniors and seniors. So they could be a team to watch in the Clover Belt East also. So
Okay. All right. Neillsville will play again tonight. They are hosting Edgar.
at the field house.
Yeah.
So, and Tuesday they are going over to see that Fall Creek team on Tuesday. So,
Oh, okay.
So-
Well, they got their work cut out for them.
so they get their feet wet pretty
Their
good.
feet wet. There you go. Yes. High school cross country teams getting their seasons underway there as well.
Big invitational at Loyal on Saturday.
Yeah,
So
that'll be a big one.
Yep.
Neillsville was in the one at Wildwood Park, but
Park,
both their teams were incomplete.
yeah.
So they didn't have enough runners to complete a full team. So hopefully they can get that going.
hopefully get that, and because it's
We're so used to hearing some of those names in cross
yeah,
country over the years.
and some of them families too, and some of those families are gone, and of course.
Yeah.
The Tater Lowrys and people like that aren't around anymore. The Drinkas and
and I didn't see a Genneman name.
okay
for Loyal.
Now that's odd.
Yeah, yeah, that's.
I can't believe Jim has run out of kids.
Maybe sooner or later.
Sooner or later, it had to happen.
I don't
It
know.
had to happen sooner or later.
Oh, we joke, but what a family.
Yes, and
What a family.
I'll tell you, Jim and Grace are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. So
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. All right. Before we get into college and pro sports here, let's go. Where are they now?
Okay, Larry, I'm going to go over to Marshfield Senior High School, and I'm going to talk about Matt Gorman, a 2000 graduate of Marshfield High School. Matt was a 3-year letter winner on the Tiger football team. His sophomore year, the Tigers were 12-2 on the season, qualifying for the WIA Division I playoffs, where they would advance to the championship game, defeating Oak Creek 21-14 for the championship. On the season, Matt, playing defensive back, had 23 tackles and 1 pass interception. His junior year, the Tigers were 6-5 on the season, qualifying for the WIA Division I playoffs, where they would lose to DC Everest in Level 2. Matt had 32 tackles and 3 interceptions on the season. His senior year, the Tigers were 13-1 on the season, winning the Valley Conference Championship, qualifying for the WIA Division I playoffs, where they would advance to the championship game, losing to Homestead 23-13. On the season, Matt had 47 tackles and a school record 10 pass interceptions. He also returned 2 kickoffs and 1 punt for touchdowns on the season. He was first team All-Conference and Valley Defensive Player of the Year. He was a Channel 7 All-Star and first team All-State. He was also team captain and was chosen to play in the Wisconsin Football Coaches All-Star Game. In the winter, Matt was a 2-year letter winner on the Tiger basketball team. His junior year, the Tigers were 15-8 on the season, losing in the sectional semis to Rhinelander. Matt averaged 15 points per game and was a first-team selection on the Wisconsin Valley All-Conference team. His senior year, the Tigers were 15-8 on the season, losing to Wausau West in the sectional finals. Matt averaged 13 points per game and was named first-team All-Conference and was also elected team captain. Matt graduated from Marshall Senior High in 2000, and in 2015 he was elected to the Marshall Tiger Athletic Hall of Fame. After graduation, Matt received an athletic scholarship to play football at Division II North Dakota State. His freshman year, the Bison were 8-2 on the season. Matt had 16 tackles and 2 pass interceptions, both which he returned for pick sixes that year. His sophomore year, North Dakota was 2-8 on the season. Matt had 38 tackles and intercepted 2 passes on the season, and he also returned 9 punts for 81 yards. His junior year, the Bison were 8-3 on the season. Matt had 48 tackles on the season. He intercepted 3 passes. One, he returned 93 yards for a touchdown. He also recovered 1 fumble, which he returned 7 yards for a touchdown. He returned 7 punts for 95 yards and was an honorable mention selection on the Northern Collegiate Conference All-Conference team. His senior year, the Bison were 8-3 on the season. Matt had 41 tackles and 5 pass interceptions on the season. He also returned 8 punts for 65 yards. He was named first team All-Conference and was elected team captain his senior year. For his career at North Dakota State, Matt ranks 9th all-time with 12 interceptions, 2nd all-time with 3 pick sixes. His 93-yard interception return is the 2nd longest in North Dakota State history. Matt graduated from North Dakota State in 2004 with a special education teaching degree. In 2006, he earned his master's from St. Mary's University. Today, Matt is employed as a special education teacher at Minnetonka, Minnesota High School, and he is a defensive backs coach for the Minnetonka football team. Matt and his wife Ashley and their 3 children, Bryn, Tyler, and Maya, reside in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Matt Gorman, Larry.
There you go. All right. A teacher. We got a teacher in the group this time. All right. Yeah, we've had a lot of different.
Yeah. It's always amazing how the athletes from this area go out to North Dakota State and do so well.
Yeah.
You know, you think of some of the wrestlers, and then, you know, also the gentleman from Spencer who's playing for the Cowboys. Lipke, yep. So, yeah, always do well in North Dakota State. So.
All right. Speaking of the Dakotas, the Wisconsin Badger football team will have one of those Dakotas this Saturday.
The
South Dakota.
South Dakota, the Jackrabbits, I believe, is there.
Yeah. So South Dakota.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever played South Dakota?
They played them in basketball. I don't think so in football, and I don't think South Dakota's been Division I for very long. They might not even be yet. You know. So.
Okay. Well, last week they beat Western Michigan 28-14. The Badgers did. I guess it wasn't.
We
blowout of any
We didn't
means.
watch the game because we were doing a Nilsville game, but
they had it on a Friday night.
You know, they were behind in the fourth quarter, but did turn a couple of turnovers into touchdowns and win the game. But what I've seen, the highlights, looks like Chaz Malusi is 100%, and he's going to be the man in the running game. And Van Dyke looks like a solid quarterback too.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So,
all right. I did see the former Badger quarterback playing for Florida, Graham Mertz.
Yeah, he got a concussion last week.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know
and
that.
And then Deacon Hill, who was a quarterback for the Badgers, then he transferred to Iowa. He's now at one of the Utahs.
and transfer all over.
Yeah, because they had like 4 former quarterbacks from the Badgers playing. And Deacon Hill was one. And then
he never played with Wisconsin, though, did he?
There was a few snaps.
Okay.
But he started last year for Iowa at the end of the
Okay.
year. And then the kid from Franklin.
Oh, I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
but he's starting for
Burkett.
Yeah, he's starting for
Burkett.
a D2 school. So
Okay. Yeah, they're all over.
yeah,
Well, the Badgers aren't known for throwing that much.
and they recruit these guys in, and a lot of them came in under the previous coaching
Christ,
regime.
yeah.
Yeah, and it is what it is,
Right,
and
right.
Coach Fickle's going to bring it, and then you also when these guys came in, there was no portal, and now the
Right.
the portal just
Oh,
drives things nuts, So
Yeah, people are
so,
going all over the place
yeah,
now.
wherever guys are changing teams every year. It's just crazy,
Yeah,
so,
it is. I mean, you look at some of these players, and it's amazing where they are now.
Yeah, absolutely. And
They were here, and now they're there.
And
and-
on a non-football note, okay, Stephen Buchanan, the 2019 graduate, he is transferring to Iowa this
That's
year.
what I heard, yeah.
He'll be wrestling 197 for the Hawkeyes this year. So at least he's getting closer to home.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this is quite a far drive. All right, so South Dakota against Wisconsin at Camp Randall on Saturday. That's nice to see a Saturday game.
Yeah, 2:30 on FS1.
Yes. Nice to see a Saturday game.
Yep, so-
Let's see. Any other games that stand out? I
The
see,
big one I think is number 3 Texas at
Yeah.
number 10 Michigan, and that is the noon Saturday game on Fox. So that is the big one.
Is
So.
Michigan the defending champ?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure they're number
Yeah.
10. I was just wondering how they got ranked so low.
I don't know. So, well, Florida State was ranked 5th. That didn't do much for them. So
No, they're not very good.
I said I kind of laughed. They lost that first one, and they said, well, their chances of making the playoffs dropped like 30%. I didn't hear what they dropped by after the second one.
Yeah. Well, they dropped out of the top 25.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Might have been the fastest fall in history.
Wow. Yeah, 2 games and you're out.
Yeah.
Let's see. I see number 1 Georgia is going to be tested with Tennessee Tech.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not a lot of cupcakes on the schedule this
Looks
week.
like it, yeah.
I do like the Iowa Iowa game though.
That's always a good one.
Yeah, the Cyhawk Bowl, I guess they call it, and
Sure.
and that's always kind of a hard hitting thing. So
Yeah. I looked down the schedule here, and there isn't much
yeah,
else
it's
going on.
kind of late this week.
Yeah,
so.
the only game with 2 top 10 teams is the Texas-Michigan game.
And that should be a pretty good game.
Should be. Yeah.
Texas has got a lot to prove, ranking 3rd. And I said, what is it? The top 5 teams, I think 3 of them are from the SEC right now. So
Yeah.
So-
Georgia number 1, Ohio State number 2.
yeah.
And they'll stay that way
Yeah,
until somebody knocks them off.
absolutely. And Ohio State's going to be tough this year, but the whole conference is different now with the teams from the West Coast coming in. And I laughed, last week 17-1 for the conference.
Yeah, Minnesota's the only team that lost.
And they probably had the toughest opponent. They scheduled North Carolina, so everybody else didn't. So
Yeah.
So it's
But so college football, it'll be a little different with the playoff system this year. So
12 teams. So a lot of teams gonna right there are thinking they got a chance. So
1 and 2 really isn't going to be as big a deal anymore.
no.
the country.
So, but I guarantee you this, Larry, somebody will be complaining at the end of the they got
I
left
know they will
out.
be, yes, yeah. Even when there's
That's-
12
that's
teams.
that's just a rite of passage.
That is. That's right. That's right. All right. So the Packers heading to Brazil. They headed there yesterday,
Yeah.
and there has been some flack by some congressmen and even
Yeah.
some teammates or some team members from
Yeah.
some of the teams that
Yeah,
didn't want to go. I mean,
it's
or they shouldn't go because of what's going on in Brazil.
the wildfires and everything else.
Well, and there's some unrest
there's-
down
Yeah,
there.
it's kind of a scary thing, but the NFL has got a lot invested in this. It's I don't know. The logistics of canceling it are not good.
No.
So
No.
you'd almost have to find a week later in the season to replay the game. So, but
both teams left yesterday.
yeah, it's going to happen. So,
Yeah, it's going to happen.
I know the Eagles are wearing white with black helmets. I know that. And
First time ever?
Yeah, Packers will be wearing the green, I believe. So
Yeah, their home uniforms.
yeah,
is what they'll be
and I
wearing.
guess the Packers have finally settled on a kicker too now. So
Oh, okay.
rookie Braden Narvison.
Well, they brought him in.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was with the Titans as a free agent. He played at, you talk about the portal. He played at Iowa State, Western Kentucky, and NC State in his career. So, but, okay. When is the last time a kicker wore number 44?
Is that what he's
He's
wearing?
wearing number
Oh,
4.
really?
And then he just got married this past year. His wife is from Prescott.
Really?
So
Whoa.
he's happy as heck to be in Green Bay.
All
so,
right, yeah, good for him. All right, so that kicks off tomorrow night, 7:15. Packers and the Eagles. Of course, it's on Peacock only
Yeah,
on
so,
TV, but you
yeah.
can Hear it on 107.5.
107.5 if you got time to switch from our game.
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, 7:15. Yeah, they're going to kick off about the same time. So.
Yeah, Coach K will be giving us updates, I assume.
We'll have him keep us updated on that.
We should mention tonight, Larry, is the NFL opener with Baltimore at Kansas City. That should be a heck of a game to start the season. So
rematch of last year's AFC Championship.
And it could very well be this year's matchup
preview,
too.
huh?
Yep. So.
Well, what do you think? They got some predictions out as far as what people think, and there's this sports thing that I go through, Kendall Baker Sports, and they have some of their staff predicting what they think on the season. And there's one that's predicting the Packers to win the Super Bowl over the Chiefs 27-24.
Okay. I like that guy.
They have one has the Chiefs beating the Lions.
Okay.
And one has the Lions beating the Jets.
Okay.
In the Super Bowl.
I do not see the Jets getting in the Super Bowl. I think their Jets are. If Rodgers stays healthy, they should have a decent year. But I don't see them even winning their own division.
Yeah. They're in a tough division.
You got Buffalo and Miami, so you got 4 games right there. So,
do you think the Chiefs can three-peat?
Boy, it's going to be tough. It's going to be, I don't. They got all their things in place, though. They got all their people in place. If anybody can do it, they can. But I'll tell you what, I like what the Ravens are doing. So I'm going to.
Oh, okay.
I think the Ravens are going to be the team to beat.
All right.
If anybody's going to beat them, I should say.
They have MVPs names like Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Patrick Holmes, Josh Allen, and Jared Goff. Nobody has the same one for MVP.
Okay.
Nobody mentioned
Jordan Love. All quarterbacks too. Nobody, no creativity there.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, I think if he stays healthy, it'll be tough. I think it'll be Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes if they both stay healthy. Goff is in a very balanced. I don't see Goff. Jalen Hurts, obviously, he does things with his arm and his leg.
Well, don't forget like last year, it may not be.
And don't forget about Tua down there at Miami if he stays healthy too. He's going to be right in there too.
One of the interesting ones was who gets the number 1 pick, and 3 of them said New England.
Okay, yeah, they're.
One of them said Washington, and the other one was the New York Giants.
I said when you're lining up Jacoby Brissett as your starting quarterback, and they have May from that they drafted, May. And I don't have a problem with them sitting him. So, but I said first of all the division they're in, and they've dropped quite a bit in the last few years.
Yes, they have.
Yeah, that's probably a good bet there. So
yeah, I think it is. All right, so we got a couple of minutes left here. Let's talk Brewers. Still got a double-digit lead in that division.
Yeah, and I said, well, they host Colorado this weekend before going out on a road trip to San Francisco and Arizona. But I tell you what, Larry, it's Jackson Chourio is the real deal.
Yeah.
He looks like he's going to be a 2020 player.
Yeah.
I said he and Willie Adames pretty much are carrying that offense. And,
yes, they are. And the pitching staff is one of the best since the All-Star break.
And they've been going deeper in games too.
Right.
Most they're getting 6 innings. And I think they're planning a little ahead for the playoffs. They optioned Brian Hudson down in the minors the other day.
Okay.
And they think it just to keep him so he doesn't pitch so many innings.
Oh, okay.
Sure. And I think they're going to do that with some other relievers too. So they're kind of, because some of those, Hudson's he's in his first real big year. He's in it heavy. It's like a starter that they pull. So, but. They're playing very well, and
they are. I bet you the Cubs are just going, "What do we got to do?" To gain ground on these guys.
Cubs are playing very well.
They are.
Until this week against Pittsburgh. But, they went through a stretch where they won like 9 of 10 and lost a game in the standings. So.
The Brewers, they can just catch Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's, it's a game like Tuesday night. That's hard to take, because they had runners at second and third in the ninth. And if Bryce Terang hits that ball any place where he did, the game is over. Well, the pitcher made a great play and got the guy out at home, and they end up losing. So, and it was the same thing Sunday. But, it is what it is. But, you got to like their offense. And, of course, Willie Adames tying a major league record, 13 3-run homers in a season.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's got 100 RBIs, 39 off those, 39% off those. But, the amount of 2-out runs they score is almost amazing.
It is. It is. All right, high school football coming up tomorrow night. We got Neillsville Granton and Durand, Arkansas on 92.7 WPKG.
Start of the Clover Belt season.
Rice Lake is at Marshfield on 92.3 FM WOSQ, and Edgar is at Auburndale on WDLB, AM 1450 and 98.7 FM. Yep. So a busy night of high school football tomorrow night. That'll wrap it up for Two Guys on Sports for this week. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson.
We'll talk to you again next week.